Check this out. Ooh. Hi there, Perfecto de Castro here, and welcome to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. And we are taking a closer look at the brand new FLAMMA FX150b lithium-ion battery-powered guitar multi-effects. FLAMMA is no stranger here on my channel. I have done a video on the bigger brother, the FX200, as well as the tiny little headphone amp, the FX10. And this is probably the most excited I've ever been about a guitar multi-effects unit, because the FLAMMA FX150b is the only guitar multi-effects in this form factor that has its own lithium-ion battery. Rated at 3000 mAh and can last up to 5 hours of continuous use. And what that means is that the FX150b can be played and can go anywhere you want. And I've done exactly that. I've played the FX150b on top of a mountain in my EV Everse 8 demo. And this lightweight and compact form factor is very easy to toss into your carry-on backpack. In fact, I have taken this very unit along with me on my trips to Germany for 42 Gear Street, as well as to Sao Paulo, Brazil for Tajima's TDT 2023. In fact, I'll be bringing this FX150b again along with me on my upcoming trip to Guitar Summit in Mannheim, Germany. The FX150b shares a lot of the same effects and amp models as the bigger brother, the FX200, all 160 of them. You also get the 5-inch LCD touchscreen. You also get the same foot switch function. So step on it to select the preset, step on it again to toggle the control scene, and then long press to toggle the tap tempo. There you go. Now, given the smaller size, there are changes to the in and out options. So gone are the XLR outs as well as the MIDI port. However, you still get the mono input, stereo outputs, the effects loop, as well as an extra input for a secondary expression pedal. Rounding out the ports, we have an 8-inch headphone out, an 1/8-inch auxiliary input if you want to plug in another music player like an iPod, if you still use an iPod. And then finally, the USB-C OTG port, which allows the FX150b to function as your audio interface for either your computer or your phone. Now, the sounds on the FX150b are pretty much identical as on the FX200. So the main difference will be in the form factor as opposed to the tonal engine. But let's check out some tones anyway. Instead of going direct into my computer, I will be plugging out of the USB-C OTG port straight into my phone that's acting as an overhead cam right here. That way you get to see and hear how it works as a phone interface. Let me set that up. Okay, so here's the setup. There's the FX150b over there, and I'm going out of the USB-C into my Android phone, and this is serving as my overhead cam. So all the audio is being recorded onto the phone itself. And to monitor everything, I have my Sennheiser HD25 headphones right here, plugged into the headphone output jack. Okay, I'll be walking you through 3 presets that I put together for the FX150b. And I'll be using my Tajima JA1, the latest Junino Afram signature model. This came home with me from TDT 2023, and I've been enjoying playing it very much. Okay, the first preset is my Plexi Clean. So let's go inside the preset. I have a compressor. That way all the transients are nice and even. And then I also have a chorus for my modulation. And then the amp of choice is my favorite, the Brit Plexi. I use the Brit Plexi a lot in the FX200 video as well. Then what else? Now the cab is the cab pair for the Brit Plexi, so there's nothing special for that one. And then for the delay, I have a dual delay. That way you can hear the repeats ping pong from left to right. And finally, a reverb. I chose the plate. Okay, so this is the main sound for the preset. Of course, I have something set up very special for the control scene. So here it is, clean. I have this nice, loose, and fuzzed out tone for my control scene. So let's take a look at that. So the control scene turns off the compressor and activates the overdrive, which is a round fuzz. Nice and woolly. And then it keeps the reverb and delay on. It also turns off the modulation. So I can go from this chorus push clean. Okay, next preset. This also uses the Plexi 100. Set to a slightly crunchy tone. Now I do have to mention again that the reason why I like the FLAMMA Brit Plexi amp model so much is because it is very dynamic and responsive to your guitar's volume knob. So from all out, it cleans nicely. So for the main sound, there really isn't much happening. It's just the amp, the cab, and the reverb. But when you toggle the control scene, okay, so the control scene toggles on the overdrive, the EQ boost, and the delay. Okay, so let's take a closer look. The overdrive is the dark rat. So I'm using a rat style pedal to push the Plexi amp. And that is something that is straight out of the 80s. I like the way the pick attack is accentuated with the rat boost. And then the EQ is just set as a slight low-end cut as well as a low-mid bump. So frequency 1, 100 Hertz, minus 1 dB, not too much, just a little bit. And at frequency 2, I have 375 Hertz boosted by 1 dB. It just tightens up the low end, especially when you palm mute. And then to round it off, the delay is a ping pong delay, as you can see right there. And then the reverb is the hall. Okay, so for the third preset, this is my SLO style patch. Of course, for this one, I'm using the SLO amp model. But the crunch channel, the DSA. For this preset, I also have the EQ engaged, and it is just a slight bump. So frequency 2 is set to 458 Hertz, and it gets a 2 dB boost. And frequency 4 is set to 4000, that gets a 1.5 dB boost. It just helps tighten up the low mids a little bit. The cab is the assigned cab for it, and then for the delay, I have a tape echo instead of the ping pong. And then the reverb is, I believe, the hall again. Now I do have to mention that the volume pedal is still set as the main master volume at the end of all the effects chains. So it's still not its own effects block. Now the way I have this set up right now for this preset is toe up is at 70% volume. And toe down goes to 100%. So this will serve as my rhythm and solo volume. Now, if you're interested in these presets, I will have them available with a link in the video description. I'll also put my Amazon affiliate link to the FX150b right there in case you want to pick one up and help a channel out. Thanks so much. Now, before I let you go, let me show you some of the real-world clips that I've been using the FLAMMA FX150b in. The first clip is from my EV Everse 8 demo, where I played guitar on top of the Glendora Mountains. The rig was mostly a proof of concept that you can go off the grid and still play guitar wherever you want, with this battery-powered guitar multi-effects and that battery-powered full-range speaker. Clip is an Instagram remix that I filmed while I was in Frankfurt, Germany. So I had the FX150b set up like I had earlier with the USB-C OTG going into my iPhone. And the backing track is a clip on Instagram that I remixed as a reel. Now, since the OTG audio goes both ways, I was able to monitor the sound coming from the Instagram reel via my in-ears, and I was able to play it. couple of clips are taken from my trip to Sao Paulo, Brazil for Tajima's TDT 2023. Now this was a convention type show and I performed for their live stream. And the FX150b made setup quick and easy. I didn't even need to ask for a power outlet to power the FX150b. So I plugged my guitar in and one output went into that amp that you can see on screen, mostly for my own personal monitoring. And the other output went straight into the live stream mixer and onto the feed. Nice and reliable, easy to use, and sounded great. Now, as already mentioned, the lithium-ion battery is rated at 3000 mAh and can power the FX150b for around 5 hours playtime straight. Now, with regards to charging the FX150b, you have to use the 9-volt port right here. Okay. You can't use the USB-C to charge the FX150b. Now, one last note about the battery. The FLAMMA website says that it can be easily replaced. So this is the battery cover right here. And I am curious about this myself. So let's open it up. Let me power it down first. Okay. There's the innards. Okay, so here is the battery. It looks to be a sealed unit and it is specific to the FX150b. So if this ever goes bad, we'll have to hit up FLAMMA for a replacement. And they'll just send this out and you can install it yourself. Okay, so I have it reinstalled. Let me just make sure that it still works. Okay, it powered up. Well, there you have it. That is the FLAMMA FX150b lithium-ion battery-powered guitar multi-effects processor. Again, big thanks to FLAMMA for sponsoring this video and for being such a great friend and supporter of my channel. So don't forget, if you want your very own FX150b, I will have the affiliate links in the video description. And feel free to grab my presets as well. That way you can have fun with your very own FX150b. And since you made it this far, please give this video a thumbs up like to help it out with the YouTube algorithm. Click on the end card to go watch my FX200 video. Then go grab your guitar and play something. You all know the drill. Practice makes perfecto. Cheers, guys.